Pro.Gnosis, a podcast with Armon Ree.
Welcome, everyone. This will be episode 4 of Pro.Gnosis. Today we have, as a guest, my good friend Reality Sceptic from Poland, directly from Poland, who has been doing what I consider very helpful and good series of podcasts where he interviews interesting people. And I would like all of you to take a look at his website on Odyssey and also on Spotify to follow the episodes that have already emerged from this very spiritual journey that he's on. Interviewing these people is, like he told me in other conversations, part of his spiritual path. Welcome, Luke.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to join you today on this podcast.
A pleasure as well. So, Luke, let's start with that podcast. Can you tell us about how it's been going, the reasons behind you starting the podcast that you've told me and that I've already sort of touched upon, and also your latest comment in a response to mine, saying that you were thinking about ending the series there, which I hope you do not, because it's a very interesting podcast. But can you go into that, please?
Yeah, I my reason for starting it was I would say few reasons. One of the reasons was I wanted to invite people who I listened to in the past or read their stuff, and I thought they were very wise people. So uh, the fact that I don't have in my immediate circle and family or friends and family don't have anybody to talk to about these things. So I uh, wanted to maybe contact those people who I thought were very, wise and have found discovered truth. And so that was the one of the reasons. And also I was thinking about doing something creative with my time. I had some more free time from the past half a year, and so I decided maybe to start a podcast. And I thought I would not be someone who is gonna speak much. I would rather ask question and listen, because I wanted to see if the things that I observed about reality, uh, if that was something that maybe I, you know, maybe don't know something, maybe I misunderstood something, maybe I have some stupid beliefs, and I wanted to invite people and listen to them to see if I get maybe triggered, maybe if I get, maybe if I uh, like I'm lost in some kind of a subject and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask direct questions and listen to people and to see how how the response in my mind will be, how the things that I thought I understand, did I really understand them, and that was the goal basically. um,
Hmm.
and the things that what I answered your comment on Odyssey, I because I was thinking for a few podcasts back ago that maybe I'm not really the correct person to do this kind of podcast. I mean, I don't feel that comfortable with it. I mean, I like to listen and to people, and I like asking questions, but the all other things regarding organizing a podcast and then editing it and putting on the internet, and I actually am not someone who is comfortable speaking. I mean, I'm gonna try my best today, but I always have this feedback in my head that that's maybe not my um that's not my thing that I will come to this so-called reality to maybe do, because some people are great at many things, right? Someone was born to be a musician, for example.
Hmm.
People have talents that they manifest those talents whatever they do, right? And I don't like feel I'm comfortable doing it, but people obviously tell me nice things about those podcasts, but I don't feel like I'm that great at it, and I don't really think that I have the passion that I once had during those podcasts. And the last few podcasts were sort of, I tried to do them correctly and stuff like that, but something was missing from my side. That's what I feel personally.
Hmm.
Um, so that's how it is. And obviously, I think about many things, whether I should, start something new. Maybe I should do something other with my free time, or some other creative adventure, so to speak. So those are the things that I think about, lately.
Yes, well, if the passion is not there, then you are quite correct in considering whether to continue or not. But I would like to ask you, do you think it might be some sort of like stage fright in that sense of, you're basically being put with all the spotlights on you, you and the guest, of course, but you're the host, right? And so could it be also a bit of a stage fright? Because it is not uncommon that our minds and our mental characters, let's say, will sabotage the path itself. It will sabotage things that might cause some kind of change that may put them in peril, and change in the internal sense, of course. So, do you think it might be also a bit of stage fright, a bit of sabotage going on, or the passion just went because you felt that the mission that you started with the podcast was already completed with these episodes?
Yeah, I think I don't think it's a stage fright. I would more say, because I'm not really that stressed when I'm recording. I'm more don't like the feeling that the mission that I thought I'm getting on with this podcast is sort of the isn't there. When I mean by that is when I think I when I think of this podcast, I am not really getting that feedback for myself regarding the things that I thought I will learn. That's one thing. The
Hmm.
second thing is I'm not getting that much feedback from the people listening. That's also not helpful, because if I'm stuck in some kind of an egoic mode, maybe we can get into later some kind of topic that I was thinking about regarding reality, but I don't really get much of a feedback, and I really don't enjoy emailing all those people, and then scheduling thing, and then editing the audio, sitting in front of my computer waiting for the video to upload. I just sitting in front of my computer, when if the more time that I spend,
Hmm.
the less I enjoy it. It's like, I'm one of those people who likes to be active physically, right? I like to, riding my bike, play basketball, stuff like that. And the more I sit and try to, upload it to Odyssey, BitChute, and all those channels, is like the more annoying it gets. So that's part of it. Obviously, like I said, those people I've talked to, it's not that colorful sometimes, because some people have their own issues, right? Some guests have, time limits. They have some personal issues. I some with one guest, Howdy Mikoski, we were rescheduling the podcast like 3 times or 4 times because of different things, right?
Hmm.
He had he was moving from one house to another, and then we had some technical, those kinds of issues,
Hmm.
just small issues, whether they're technical issues or people have their own issues. It's annoying, and some obviously more people refused to come on the podcast than they agreed. So I also was sending much more emails than I had guests, obviously, right? So
Hmm.
so there's many annoying things, and I thought I will be more comfortable speaking to people like in English, right? I thought I had very good grades English classes in school, right? So I thought my English would be better, but maybe those years of not speaking English and being a little bit more quiet and not using my language skills, they downgrade it, right? If
Hmm.
So you understand, there's
Yeah.
plenty of things that fit that plenty of different things that lead me to this thinking about maybe not doing this anymore, or at least not in that format, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So it seems to me like the world also gets in the way, right? It's not just the internal world, but the external world gets in the way. So you get these obstacles, people rescheduling, people having issues, of the technical nature that that prevents perhaps the show from flowing as you would want to. But also these external obstacles, let's say, are also there to sort of test the resolution and test the will to move forward or not. But it is something that I understand very well when you say that you do not feel the same passion. I understand exactly what you mean by that. And so relating to that feeling, if indeed you introspectively feel that the passion should be directed elsewhere, then by all means. I mean, in the same way that you started this very interesting series of podcasts that I've been honored to be in twice. In the same way that you started, you can take a break and return later or never return at all because what you've already presented is already of much value. And speaking about also about the feedback that you
And
were, oh yeah,
And sorry, and there is also one thing I didn't want to sound like a douchebag or a arrogant person, but I honestly, and there is no point in talking if I'm not gonna be directly honest. I think people just don't fucking care about this podcast, to be honest. I mean, few people like it. I mean, you commented it, you liked it. There are few people who send me emails, but that's like I don't know, 5, 10 people. Like everybody else, I had last podcast I did, I had 600 in 1 week on BitChute, views. And
hmm
if I were to guess how many people actually cared about this, really learned something, I might be, I don't know, 10% at best, 5%, because I don't think people, I think people listen to podcasts because they are pleasure seeking. I don't think people are really wanting to learn as they say they are. I mean, I think there's a real issue with people. That's one thing I observe with
hmm
people want just sometimes just spend time, just don't think about their personal life, just listen to some things that they are interested in, and they just passing time and enjoying maybe some guests because they like their stuff, and they want dopamine hit listening to podcasts. And maybe that's also the problem. I it sounds like pessimistic and negative maybe,
hmm
but if what I mean. I don't think sometimes some people are, I are like really listening to those podcasts to learn something. I have maybe I'm wrong, maybe that sounds pessimistic. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Well, that there is a segment of people that consume. Let's say we can use that word, consume podcasts with merely entertainment in mind. But even those may get something unexpected out of that entertainment stance. Because, for example, if they're listening to a podcast while doing something else, and it can be taking a walk, riding the bike or doing the dishes or whatever, the mental character may be distracted enough for some information to connect at a deeper level. That may happen, which does not mean that they will have this epiphany and all of a sudden, change their lives because they heard a podcast, but something can connect there that will have an effect that is not immediate. And one thing that I was going to say about feedback is that for a big period of time, I also did not have any feedback. One comment here or there, a few likes or something like that, and it was I was doing it regardless of the feedback because that wasn't the focus. You understand?
Mhm.
For me, it was more of the things that I wanted to present in a way as if I was presenting the realizations to myself. You understand? As if, okay, I'll explain this to myself, to my mental character, to my mind construct, if you like.